International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants on Tuesday for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense chief, and a Hamas leader. The warrants are for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Gaza conflict. The move was met with outrage in Israel, while Hamas welcomed the warrants against the Israelis. In their decision, the ICC judges said there were reasonable grounds to believe Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant were criminally responsible for acts including murder, persecution, and starvation as a weapon of war, and said it was part of a, quote, widespread and systemic attack against the civilian population of Gaza. The warrants for Hamas leader Ibrahim al-Masri lists charges of mass killings during the October 7, 2023 attacks on Israel. It also includes charges of rape and the taking of hostages. Israel said it killed Masri in an airstrike in July, but Hamas has neither confirmed nor denied it. The prosecution indicated it would continue to investigate his reported death. Netanyahu's office called the ICC decision anti-Semitic and said he would not yield until Israel's war objectives are met.
Why an arrest warrant against our prime minister?
In Tel Aviv, his supporters voiced disapproval.
You don't see the all anti-Semitism that's been going on, and the only state that's fighting Hamas. We still have 101 hostages in captivity by Hamas.
A senior Hamas official told Reuters the warrants were a first step towards justice. But in Khan Yunis, displaced Palestinians said the decision to charge Netanyahu came too late.
He used October 7th as an excuse to commit crimes in the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is not terrorists. It is children, elderly people, women.
Israel has rejected the jurisdiction of the Hague-based court and denies war crimes in Gaza. The United States, Israel's main diplomatic supporter, is also not a member of the ICC and rejected the decision on Thursday, said a White House National Security Council spokesperson. But others, like the EU's foreign policy chief, said the court's decision should be respected and implemented.
It is a decision of a court of justice, of the International Court of Justice.
The court does not have its own police force to carry out arrests and instead relies on its 124 member states. Israel's 13-month campaign has killed about 44,000 Palestinians and displaced nearly all the enclave's population, Gaza officials say. It launched the campaign in response to the October 7th attack, which killed 1,200 people and saw more than 250 hostages taken, Israel has said.
In a televised address Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Moscow had launched a medium-range ballistic missile attack on a Ukrainian military facility in response to recent Ukrainian long-range strikes with Western weapons.
In combat conditions, one of the newest Russian mid-range missile systems was also tested, in this case with a ballistic missile and non-nuclear hypersonic equipment.
Kyiv said Russia used an intercontinental ballistic missile, a weapon designed for long-distance nuclear strikes and never before used in war, and that it hit the city of Dnipro. But 3 U.S. officials said it was an intermediate-range ballistic missile that has a smaller range, and one official said it was notified by Russia about the strike ahead of time. There was no suggestion it was nuclear-armed. A regional governor in Ukraine said the attack damaged an industrial enterprise and set off fires. Artem Dyamin is the acting director of a medical rehabilitation center.
Technical buildings were damaged in our compound. In the rehabilitation center building, around 50 windows were damaged. Thank God nobody was injured.
Regardless of its classification, the latest strike highlighted rapidly rising tensions in the past several days. It came after Ukraine fired U.S. and British missiles at targets inside Russia this week, after outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden gave it permission to do so, despite warnings by Moscow that it would see such action as a major escalation. President-elect Donald Trump has said he will end the war without saying how, and has criticized billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine under Biden. The warring sides believe Trump is likely to push for peace talks, not known to have been held since the war's earliest months, and are trying to attain strong positions before negotiations.
Hours after Matt Gaetz withdrew as nominee for U.S. Attorney General, President-elect Donald Trump has named another official from Florida. His next pick is Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of the Sunshine State. That came hours after Gaetz withdrew from consideration on Thursday. He had faced opposition from Senate Republicans in the week since he was tapped for the role. He's the subject of a House Ethics Committee probe into allegations of having sex with an underage girl and illicit drug use. And the committee was deadlocked Wednesday over releasing its report on him. Gaetz has denied wrongdoing. Bondi, Trump's new pick, served as the top law enforcement officer in Florida for 8 years, and during his term served on his Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission. Her resume is a sharp contrast with Gaetz, who has little of the traditional experience expected of an attorney general, with no experience in the Justice Department or as a prosecutor.
Gaetz.
Trump is the subject of multiple criminal investigations from U.S. and state prosecutors, and in announcing his choice of Bondi said, quote, "For too long, the partisan Department of Justice has been weaponized against me and other Republicans. Not anymore." Also on Thursday, Trump's nominee for defense, Fox News host Pete Hegseth, faced questions from reporters over a California police report released this week. It said a woman had filed a sexual assault complaint against him in 2017, though police declined to file charges against him since they could not be, quote, "supported by proof beyond a reasonable doubt." Hegseth told media on Capitol Hill that, quote, "I'll keep it very simple. The matter was fully investigated and I was completely cleared." Trump has stood by Hegseth, calling the allegations false in a statement on Thursday.
I knew something had gone down, and it was going to be a tree when I got a flashlight on it.
Washington State homeowner Rich Moore was clearing debris from a downed tree in his yard a day after a powerful windstorm known as a bomb cyclone swept through the area, knocking out power for hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses.
I wasn't asleep, and when I heard a definite but soft thump outside, I had the feeling I knew what that was all about when I heard it.
The first bout of winds had eased across the region of southwest Washington and Oregon by midday on Wednesday. But now a second storm is on the way, and Bay Area residents are bracing for it.
We've given out around 400 sandbags.
Rachel Gordon is the communications director for the San Francisco Public Works Department.
I'm not expecting power to go out, but if it does go out, have flashlights and batteries on hand, have your cell phone charged up, get an extra charger, just kind of the basics of taking care of yourself. This is a pretty tame rain we're having right now. As the rains ramp up, so will the city crews ramp up to make sure that people are kept safe.
Bomb cyclones occur when windstorms rapidly intensify in 24 hours or fewer, when a cold air mass from the polar region collides with a warm tropical air, in a process that meteorologists call bombogenesis. The National Weather Service said about 11 inches of rain had already fallen in Northern California, and another 5 to 10 inches of rain is expected, with wind gusts of 65 miles per hour coming Thursday evening.
Senegal President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has secured a large majority in parliamentary elections, winning a mandate to carry out an ambitious drive for reforms in the West African country. State TV said on Thursday that his PASTEF party won 130 out of 165 seats. Faye originally swept to power on the promise of more jobs, lower consumer prices, and improved public services. But in mid-September, months after he'd taken office with a landslide election victory, the president dissolved the House, accusing the opposition of refusing to pass bills. Now, Dakar residents hope a big majority for the ruling party will clear the way for meaningful change, including more efforts to fight illegal migration routes that originate from Senegal.
We expect the new assembly to pass laws focused on youth employment. We have seen the issue of illegal immigration. Our youth are dying at sea, and we need this issue to be addressed. We need jobs. What belongs to us in this country but was given to foreigners should be returned to us.
Analysts say Faye's first challenge is coming up with a budget that balances both his voters' needs and the wishes of the International Monetary Fund, with which his government is currently in talks. A $1.9 billion IMF program agreed in June last year has been on hold since it was discovered Senegal's debt and budget deficit were much wider than the previous administration had reported. Negotiations with the fund to restart disbursements could last until mid-2025.